So this year, I was honored to be asked by the Michael J. Fox Foundation to join the Parkinson's Policy Forum in Washington, D.C. It would be an opportunity to sit down with some of the most powerful voices in Washington to try to make a difference and move the needle on Parkinson's research and funding. So after several weeks of doing my own homework and agonizing over what to say, it was finally time to hit the road. After arriving in Washington on Monday, I was excited to spend some time with the first voice who ever reached out to me and invited me into this beautiful community of Parkinson's warriors when I was at my lowest point. My good friend Allie Signorelli, along with her husband Mike, and wonderful family, have been leading advocates in this fight, as well as a mentor to me on how to advocate as well. They were kind enough to open their home for a kickoff party. There, I met some of the other top advocates that I've spoken to through social media, as well as some of the heads of the Fox Foundation. It was nice to put the names with the faces, share some stories, take some amazing pictures that will last a lifetime. But most importantly, I got to meet the favorite Parkinson's mascot, Bean. After tossing and turning all night with anxiety over what was ahead, Tuesday morning started out looking pretty good, but I definitely needed a coffee. And as I sat at the morning breakfast, I had no clue that this could possibly be the best day of my life that was ahead of me. I watched leaders of the Fox Foundation fill me in with great information on how to properly advocate, as well as drill home the point of why we were there and what our asking points were. They then introduced a surprise guest speaker, Miss Lani Ali, the wife of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. You see, this meant more to me than anybody else in the room. My first run-in with Parkinson's was when I met Muhammad Ali at a sports show. I watched him struggle to get up out of his chair and shake as he picked my firstborn up out of his seat and held him up and kissed him on the forehead. This is a memory that hangs in our house proudly every single day. Right after my diagnosis of Parkinson's many years later, my son got a tattoo of Muhammad Ali on his leg to honor both me and the champ. It was his way of saying, "It's okay, Dad, we got this." So you see, Miss Ali's presence there was a sign from above, letting me know that I got this. Somehow, after her inspiring talk, I had the courage to walk up to her and tell her that same story about my son meeting her husband. She hugged me. She gave me words of encouragement, as well as take a picture showing off the picture I had in my phone of my son with her husband. So pinching myself over what transpired, it was time to hop in the car and get over to Capitol Hill, as there was still a lot of work to do. My first meeting was with Senator Cory Booker's office to sit down with his staff. As I waited to go in the room, Miss Ali walked in several minutes later. I had no clue what she was doing there. She came over to me, took the piece of paper that I had written my speech on out of my hands, and she said, "You don't need this." She goes, "You speak from here," and pointed to my chest. She said, "I'm here to hear your story." I then sat down at a table in a conference room with my group of other New Jersey advocates, the wife of Muhammad Ali, the staff of one of the leading lawmakers in Washington, and then walks in Dr. Ray Dorsey, one of the leading neurologists in the world regarding Parkinson's. It was the most earth-shattering, pinch-me moments, what the hell am I doing here moments. But when it came time to talk, I just remembered what Miss Ali said to me, and I spoke from the heart. I threw that piece of paper that I had been working weeks on away, and I just simply told my story from the heart, how debilitating this disease is, how it's robbed me of being a dad, how it's robbing my 3 beautiful kids of having one. I started crying, like a 2-year-old, which then made the whole room cry. I honestly blanked out as I finished my speech. But afterwards, everybody came up to me and said it was one of the most powerful speeches they had ever heard, and the whole room was touched. Miss Ali hugged me and was so proud that she sent the video to my son Ryan, telling her how proud she was of what I had just done. It was then time to go to lunch. We were taking the downstairs underground hallways up to Capitol Hill, where I was then touched on the shoulder by Dr. Ray Dorsey. He walked with me and told me how proud he was of what he had just heard. He told me that voices like mine are what will ultimately lead to a cure. He told me that he personally wants to be the neurologist for my sons in the event they ever need one. He told me how proud he was of me of the movement that he saw I started online called Gray Matters. He wants me to do it over and over again, and he will do whatever he can to promote it, to get the word out there. Before I even had a chance to sit down, I was invited up to Senator Cory Booker's office to meet with him personally, as he was not at the meeting prior. At this point, I was in such a zone that I really didn't even have time to have a panic attack. I rushed up to his office and was placed in a conference room. It was filled with amazing pictures of history, as well as plaques of our armed forces and awards. As I waited for him, a video specialist walked in and said, So you're the one that has everybody crying. I said, how do you know that? It only happened 10 minutes ago. He said, everybody up here is talking about it. He said, the senator wants to know if you wouldn't mind filming part of your day to make a documentary about this and help get the word out. I sat there with him for about a half hour, talking on camera, and of course we started crying, waiting to meet the senator. I was then told that the senator wanted to meet me on Capitol Hill. They placed a microphone on me, as well as special security badges, and brought me underground of the building. We took a special underground train to the Capitol. As we got off and went into an elevator, the doors opened up, and it was like something you would see on television. Tons of lawmakers standing side by side in a golden hallway, being surrounded by tons of media as they were asking them questions. I'm sure they were looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing here? I then waited in the hallways of Capitol Hill for Senator Booker to come over. I kept wondering to myself, what the hell did I do to get here? After just a few moments, he came out and he treated me like as if I was a celebrity. He rushed over and gave me the biggest of hugs. He thanked me for everything that I've done to this point and said he even followed me on social media with the My PD Party forum that I started for the Parkinson's community. We spoke at length. He then asked to grab my phone and click the video on. He gave the most amazing endorsement that a dad could ever ask for their children. And I sent it to them. We spoke about his dad as well. He requested a copy of my speech that, quite frankly, I didn't even use. He wanted to read it privately in his office and keep it close. He then took another copy that he saw I had and wrote a beautiful message for me on it as well. We then sat down at a beautiful table in the conference room after looking over the Senate floor where he changed lives with a 25-hour speech. We spoke at length about what is needed to move the needle in a Parkinson's cure. He said he wanted to meet my kids and do a lot of work with me in the future in this field. And after about 20 minutes, I looked him in the eyes and I told him that I know he's going to be one of the key figures that will help save my life as well as millions of others. We took some pictures, we embraced again, and promised to see each other soon. We then got back to the underground train, headed back for my next meeting with Senator Andy Kim's office. I thanked Senator Booker's staff about 1,000,000 times as I could not believe what just happened to me, specifically Gloria, who was key to making this all happen. They told me the footage that they took of me would be sent to me, but they were planning something bigger with it to push it out nationally and get the word out about Parkinson's. I then spent another hour with Senator Andy Kim's office, telling my side of the story as well, and the asks that we had to our government to accelerate federal spending and funding for the National Parkinson's Project, and to do whatever we can to get paraquat banned. Once that meeting was over, I finally settled down and just had a moment to think about what was happening to me. And I still couldn't believe where I was. I really just wanted to go back to the hotel and keep pinching myself, but I still had one more thing to do. You see, the Fox Foundation had a beautiful Congressional of Champions reception that was attended by some of the biggest names that have ever helped move this needle. I was honored to be in their company and take pictures with them, as well as the other warrior heroes that are now my family. Aside from my children being born, this may have been the greatest day of my life. I still can't believe what happened to me, and I'm still trying to process it. In the upcoming days, I will break down all of these things that happened to me and give them the attention they deserve. But I do know one thing. I feel like in that day, I made a difference. I know I helped push the needle just a little bit towards a cure. That is one of the most powerful things that anybody can ever feel. Not everybody in this lifetime gets the chance to do what I did that day and got to feel the way I feel now. I want to thank all those amazing and inspiring people that I met over those 3 days. A huge thank you to Senator Cory Booker and his amazing staff for the time that we spent and the time that we will be spending in the future fighting this disease. And most of all, for truly making me feel like my voice was heard. And as always, the biggest of thank yous to Michael J. Fox and the Fox Foundation for giving me this platform for my voice to be heard, as well as another amazing event that left me feeling inspired and most of all, hopeful for a cure.
This is Senator Cory Booker, and I approve this message.